Upgrade, improve, enhance your home with National Bank's Wow Mortgage. For the effect you'll get when you upgrade your home. Lowest interest rate guaranteed and the most favorable terms.
Wow Mortgage. Can I get a wow?
Reliable, dependable, Delta. If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
The St. Kitts Credit Union is making mortgages easy. Becoming a homeowner, whether purchasing or building, has never been easier. The SKCU is here to help. Apply online via our website, www.skccu.com, or schedule an appointment today with one of our friendly loan officers to discuss your options. St. Kitts Credit Union, the best place to borrow, the best place to save.
RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited, located on West Independence Square Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, and the Solomon Arcade, Nevis, offers you safe and reliable transfers at great low rates and fees to 507,000 locations worldwide, with a pickup time of just 15 minutes after your transfer. And for even more ease of doing business, we home deliver and direct bank deposits in selected countries. So if anytime you want to send money to family, friends, and loved ones, at RIA, we've got you covered. With over 30 years of experience moving money quickly, efficiently, and securely across 160 countries. Give us a call at 465-3325 in St. Kitts or 469-3325 in Nevis. Opening hours Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8:30 in Nevis, and on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom Apper today.
Hi there, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Groundings with the brothers and sisters of St. Christopher and Nevis. I'm Junie Lywood. First of all, let me thank Jamie for sitting in a couple of times and doing such a wonderful show as always, very dynamic and illustrious. And of course, the regular colleagues Sam Conda and Dr. Patrick Martin are here. Time for them to say something in terms of greetings. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Junie and Sam and Jamil MacPhail. And to the listeners and viewers to Freedom FM, happy to be here as usual on Friday afternoon.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Junie, Patrick, and our listening audience. Like to big up all the supporters, especially I want to mention Larry Byron, who is here vacationing, grounding fan, all the people from North America, Europe, all over the world. Tune into Friday afternoon.
Larry Hughes for Rovers?
Rivals. Oh, here we go, Rovers in it. Rivals, and later on...
he started early.
He started early,
yeah.
Yes, Sam, indeed. Quite a few people have returned for Music Festival already.
Music Festival, yeah, we're booked out.
Music Festival kicks off next week. They're already here from North America, from Latin America, from the Caribbean, wherever. They've come home for what is definitely great and outstanding cultural event in the calendar of St. Kitts and Nevis every year, the St. Kitts Music Festival. And this year promises to be just as good as previous years, if not better. So we're looking forward to that. So we say welcome again to our listeners at home and abroad, and join us for the next hour and a half of information, education, and just groundings. Patrick, lead off.
Well, we continue to look to the east to see if there are any signs of cyclonic trouble. So far, so good, knock on wood.
Where's that?
The Atlantic Ocean hasn't started boiling yet, so we knock on wood.
It's in the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
Mexico got hit.
Right. So, we wish them well.
Yes, we do.
We also, as the smallest country in the Western Hemisphere and the seventh smallest in the world, we also keep an eye on the price of oil.
Yeah.
Having regard for the hostilities and insecurities in the world. So, gentlemen, it was $68 June 15. It's now 73.5 US dollars. Okay, it just went up to 73.56. So, that's what this program is about, keeping up to date.
Yes.
And as usual, the menu is the remembrances, some celebrations, recognitions, and special mentions, and then the main features. We'd like to start with remembrances, General. Anybody in particular?
You have one
here.
You have one here.
Yeah, I have one here. Yes, Walter Morton. I don't know if you knew him, Junie, but Sam.
Walter Morton.
He worked for Social Security for many years in Nevis, and
a great friend of mine.
Was a legacy, as pointed out, a legacy of sterling service to that all-important organization, the Social Security.
Well, for many years.
I had the pleasure of working with him at the Nevis Mini Olympics during commentary. But I particularly enjoyed his...
Morton, I know him now. Once you mentioned commentary.
Yeah.
I remember him for that.
I particularly enjoyed his political analyses in the morning, the breakfast menu. He was one of the first, in my memory, to use clips. I found that to be a very engaging way, important way to set the tone for a topic by playing the clips. It means you're doing your research. And so I continue to follow his model. Walter Morton, a voice of principle, a legacy of service in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, specifically Nevis, and working for the St. Kitts and Nevis Social Security Board.
When I served as Minister of Social Security, I spent lots of time in Nevis at the Social Security office here, and we spent a lot of time together. He's ardent and passionate advocate of Social Security and the development of the office and all of that in Nevis. He played a great role in that, a tremendous role, and I want to thank him for his service to the department and to Nevis in particular, the country in general, and the Social Security scheme.
Speaking about achievements, we note the splendid achievement of Dr. Kadima Blanchett, who went from being a talented teen here in St. Kitts, talented queen winner regionally, to medical doctor, multi-talented. The multi-talented star graduated with dual degrees in medical sciences and medicine and surgery. So we want to hail her as our own pride and joy in this significant achievement. Congratulations, Dr. Blanchett.
Actually, at this season of graduation, we're getting more and more reports of Kittitians and Eurasians who have graduated from the various institutions of higher learning here in the region and around the world. So a general congratulations to all, and parents and guardians who worked hard, sacrificed, made the investment. Congratulations to you too.
Yes, indeed.
And of course, we also have to recognize our education system, which comes in for some criticism from time to time, but for in terms of foundation and a rising tide, lifting all, if many, if not all boats, all of these children, young people are products of that system, whether they went through the public or private system. So congratulations all around, and keep learning.
Yeah, I think we have to especially mention, I think there's this Mr. Keandre M.J. Weeks, a graduate from the Law Woolen Youth School
in
Jamaica, and who's now serving as an intern at the
that's our next judge.
Yeah, that's very good. First Kittitian division to do that.
Yes.
And we want to congratulate him, a graduate of the Keon High School.
Right. Right. Well, as Dr. Martin said, we want to hail up all the graduates, for no matter what university or college they would have attended. You're graduating, we say congratulations and keep on pushing.
Right. Two nations, one rhythm. Gentlemen, the historic visit from our brothers and sisters in Nigeria.
Yes.
They came on a flight direct from
Nigeria, was it?
Nigeria, yeah.
10 hours, apiece. And from all reports and pictures, the visit was a outstanding success, good interaction with our own creatives and sports people. And I look forward, personally, I look forward to this relationship going from strength to strength as we pivot our social and economic action lines back to Africa. Junior had a chance to witness any of the sessions?
The leader of the delegation in her opening remarks said that unity is strength, but collaboration is powerful. I think that speaks a lot, especially in terms of what's happening in the world today, the geopolitics. Because, we're thinking about the relationship between Africa and the Caribbean as we move forward in terms of strategic diplomacy. And we have to consider the 54 countries on the African continent and the 16 Caribbean countries here. When we add 54 to 16, that's 70 out of the 193 countries in the United Nations. That's a significant number. And if you add the Commonwealth to that, I think we have to begin to look at these strategic diplomatic arrangements if we are to weather the storm of the international problem that we are facing. So I'm happy that started, and that is what we hope will continue in terms of the bond between Africa, the Caribbean, and whether I feel if we are to weather the storm that is raging at the moment.
Our leaders kept speaking about this. I could recall as a little boy in the 70s hearing this type of thesis, diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. And so we now have some fruits, hopefully, some seeds being planted, and hopefully there'll be some fruit.
This is something that we as a nation have always wanted, especially the Caribbean region, to reach out and touch our ancestral roots in positive ways, be it economically, socially, politically, spiritually. This is something we've wanted, but has been shunted away from us by our colonial masters, because they were anxious to show Africa in a very dependent mode. The poverty-stricken children don't have on any shoes and starving, and this was the image projected by the colonial masters of Africa, when they themselves now went in there and took out the resources and came rich and famous from these resources. And this is something that we never realized at the time, because we believed that what the colonial masters were showing us was true and real.
What you wrote about that, how you were part of the world of Africa?
There you go. and so I'm particularly happy to see that we have now joined ranks with our brothers in Africa and seeing in what ways we can have a relationship with them. You trade with us, we trade with you. You show us the recent developments that you're involved in, and you spread that base across the Caribbean, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, because this is something that is vitally necessary if our people are to survive.
It is clear that with the possible exception of Jamaica, whose population is 3 million, none of the other islands individually can sustain, direct airlift between any country in Africa and the Caribbean. So we have to work as a group.
CARICOM total population about 6 million, nearly 6 million.
But if you had Haiti, you got to 17.
Well,
the English speaking.
English speaking, yeah.
Yeah. So very good. So during the open line, if you have any comments about the pivot to Africa, please feel free as we continue to explore the so-called non-traditional relationships. Well, speaking of Africa,
just before we move on that, this is nothing new to us, and Junior making a point. Robert Bradshaw not only was talking about it, but he traced his ancestry to his tribe in Africa. That was a practical, demonstration about, what it meant to us.
Correct.
He went to the trouble to trace his roots.
Yeah.
To the tribe in Africa that he came from. I think it was the Ashanti or something like that.
Right. One of the things that always touched me whenever I went to visited his home was to see the amount of African cultural obelisks and masks and statues and so on that he collected. He was totally African.
Yep.
He believed in them.
Yep.
And this is what has laid the foundation. Those leaders of the likes of Comrade Bradshaw and Manley and Barrow and Burnham are the ones that spearheaded this movement for connectivity with Africa. And we can't forget that. This is what we have to impart in our children and teach them that Africa is not some woebegone, forgotten tribe of people. We are the first people to establish a civilization, and this must not go unnoticed or untouched.
I think we would accept.
One of the things moving there, just before you come, Patrick, is that just to continue there, because you're talking about Barrow and Burnham and Bradshaw and Williams and Bird and so on. Because, the four big countries, Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Guyana, those who led this connection to Cuba. And begin to look at our roots, not only in the Caribbean, in Africa, but in wider field in the Caribbean. And so, you know, our whole diplomatic and, started there with them. I mean, where we should go, because, I mean, people were afraid to align with Cuba in those days when those guys took the step, because you feared the wrath of the Americans. But they took the step, the bold step, you know, ahead of the CARICOM movement to make those alignment, not only with like I said, with Africa, but with countries in the Caribbean, like Cuba.
Undoubtedly, those political leaders were inspired by the likes of Marcus Messiah Garvey and persons of his ilk, who very early at the turn of this century and beyond, the last century that is, were espousing a similar line of self-reliance, connectivity to the continent, that the continent was one of civilization and intellectual excellence. Yeah. So it is left for us and the younger folks now to continue, and undoubtedly some contacts were made between our local people and the persons who came on that flight.
Well, what we have to learn from this is when the president of the big, great United States says, you can't come here for whatever reason, who needs to go there? Who needs to go to America? All that we need, all the European nations now are getting what they want, their resources, from Africa. Africa is laid the way for modernizing Europe. And so when he speaks about you can't come to the States because of whatever reason, we must invest heavily in going to Africa and vice versa, because they have the resources. People in the US and in Europe and wherever, other parts of North America, they are going and taking out the resources of Africa and using them for their own country development. And we have to take stock of that. So when Trump said you can't travel, say who needs to travel there? We could be going to Nigeria. We could go in Africa. So
just noticed that the president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, is expected in St. Lucia on June 28th for official engagements.
That's good.
And the Prime Minister, Pierre, has invited his OECS colleagues to come and have
join forces, man. That's correct.
A tete-a-tete with the president of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that alone signals that this is for real.
Yeah.
The deepening of contacts.
Yes.
Is for real.
Yeah. And we must be strategic. We mustn't let them, shove us into any corner and so on. We must be strategic. We must develop the numbers. Well, we have the numbers, like I say, with 54 African countries and 16 Caribbean countries and so on. We have numbers in the UN and so on. We must develop that strategic, and we must talk to everybody and about the way of our future. Nobody must shape our future for us. We must decide where we want to go and how we want to go, and we must be at the table guiding that way.
And the forerunner for all of this was Marcus Garvey. This is what he was speaking about when he said Africa for Africans at home and abroad. That is so profound. Africa for the Africans at home and abroad. That says a lot right there.
Ahead of his time.
Yes.
Speaking of Africa, South Africa World Test Champions. Emerging from many years in the cricket wilderness, sometimes getting knocked out in the semi-finals, sometimes getting knocked out in the finals.
What happened to the West Indies?
But we're going to circle
you're
back.
You're talking about knocked out. What about when they weren't involved?
We can circle back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Apartheid.
Yeah, right.
The picture, well, you're hitting on something, because the picture from Lords was that of Captain Temba Bavuma quietly soaking in the moment.
Yes.
And when I forgot
It's
who
coming
scored,
along.
when his colleague scored the winning run, you could see him. You could see the tears. You could see him praying. The first black captain of South Africa from a black township called Langa. And you want to explain what a township is?
Tell us.
Okay, well, from what you taught me, those were areas that were reserved for Africans and probably persons of mixed race, and the apartheid system. You live over there, you know, and that's outside Cape Town. He was regarded as too short, too fat, too not good looking. He got a lot of stick growing up, but his parents invested in him. They saw his potential and sent him off to high school in Johannesburg. And the rest, as they say, is history. He was able to rise above all that and lead South Africa out of the cricket wilderness. What? I can't stop watching that clip of him, and the homecoming to Oliver Tambo Airport was absolutely magnificent. So congratulations to South Africa.
Yeah.
Coming from
Amazing
apartheid, it was just the other day, right?
Yeah, just the other day. Just the other day.
West Indies,
40
I
years.
gather, got knocked out quickly out of that, or didn't make that.
We are rebuilding. How about that? How about that for an explanation? We are rebuilding.
For a long time.
Well, South Africa was rebuilding for a long time, so we just follow it suit. Coming up now, we have what, a 4 to 6 week festival of festivals, starting next week, the music festival. Then there's a breadfruit festival and a bread nut festival in Nevis. 2 separate festivals, by the way. And then the mango festival in Nevis. And then we have the festival of cricket, T20s, West Indies, Australia, and also CPL.
West
And then
Indies, Australia is T20 or
Yeah.
Tests plus T20?
Well, here, in terms of here in St. Kitts.
St.
Kitts.
St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah. And then we culminate the festival of festivals at Culturama. Junior, you're going to be busy.
I'm busy doing what?
All these festivals.
Covering all these festivals.
Yeah, we normally give coverage
Yes.
to the music festival and the Culturama.
And I'm
So we're looking forward to continue
Yeah.
that.
The Mango Festival is growing in Nevis.
Yeah.
It's really.
I'm told if you don't get your tickets soon, Sam, you'll be left in the wilderness. Junior already has his VIP ticket.
I wish.
It's usually
I
sent.
normally get the same day when it's at the opening.
Ah.
That's when we get tickets here.
Oh, okay.
The last minute.
Okay. All right, so what's the importance of all these festivals? Economic activity, bring people in, fill some hotel rooms, some work for the taxis
Put some
and the
heads-
restaurants.
Put some
and
heads in the beds.
bums in beds. It's bums in beds.
Okay.
Bums in beds. And restaurants, taxis, souvenirs. Yeah, so.
Promotional. And all this in the season of the off season. Yeah.
So-called
Yeah.
off-season, right?
Right,
Rich?
okay.
We have to try to lengthen the visitor season as much as we can because people are in the mood of sanctioning small island states. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. All right. The United Nations had an Oceans Conference in Nice, France. What is remarkable about this? Well, we had two nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis played leading roles
Featuring?
in this conference.
Featuring.
In the persons of Senator Dr. Joel Clark, who featured in plenaries and panels, and Dr. Mark Williams, who represented the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, where he's the newly installed executive director. Sam, can you recall any time when two nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis held this kind of prominence in a particular subject
Not
area
two.
on the international
Not,
scene?
not
Huh?
too. I remember way back, that's with Dr. Christmas. And Dr. Christmas was a high UN official, but he was single-handedly, I mean, we're duplicating it now. We have two at the same time. And so I think this is the first time that we have ever had two nationals at that level
Some way I may ask, so what's the importance to St. Kitts and Nevis of the UN Oceans Conference? Well, we are facing several threats. Big country overfishing in our waters. Global warming is leading to coral reef bleaching, which leads to decline in fish stocks and increased risk of coastal zone erosion. Why should we pay attention to this? River runoff, Sam and Junie, river runoff in the Amazon is contributing to the sargassum seaweed proliferation here in the Caribbean. The river runoff plus the high sea surface temperatures from global warming. And finally, the microplastics are ingested by fish, and those microplastics get into the food chain. So we need some help to address these issues. We didn't cause anything, but we are the victims. So we need to be there advocating.
We need to increase the monitoring and part of it.
Right. And it's good to have these two PhD level persons at that level. So congratulations again to Dr. Joel Clark and Dr. Mark Williams for their work.
I am glad that we have moved from the stage of having conferences and attending workshops and big sounding names and titles and themes and so on. And after 6 months, you never hear about it again. This is something that has bothered me, that we go and attend workshops and conferences to do with water and other resources that we have here. And it just seems as if it was just a talk shop, because you don't have anything being implemented on the ground level in a practical sense. And then you go off and attend the update to that conference 2-3 years later, and it's the same pattern, recycled over and over again, that we don't see the benefits of going overseas to attend these conferences. You might as well stay home.
You get an insight into how seriously you are taken when you are a plenary speaker, and you are also invited to panel discussions. So I saw a clip of Senator Clark speaking at a panel discussion, the only female, the only black person. And after she spoke, a high-level person virtually echoed what she was saying. She was referring to the fact that our small island, large ocean states need international assistance to combat these things. And you can't just look at GDP and stuff like that. You have to look at vulnerability. And it was echoed. And when I heard that, I said, good. Because persons who make the final funding arrangements, they are there at those panel discussions. Not necessarily in the big, well, Sam, you could allude to that. Is who you're speaking to out on the margins or in the side rooms of these conferences, Junie. And, for Dr. Clark and Dr. Williams, this is in their DNA. This is their subject area. So, they are in positions now to keep the momentum going. Right. Okay. Right. The next item we thought we'll discuss is the...
You see, just before we move on, because the whole thing, the whole climate change and environment, that is the future, And, in many cases, like Premier Brandt used to say, we asked to write a check that we didn't. We asked to cash a check that we didn't write. And so we want to bring the attention that this thing is costing us when we really have not done anything to cause it. And I think for the first time, they're beginning to hear from us directly, like you said, this plenary session, and not just from the UN General Assembly, where, that's just a day's exercise where after they don't talk, everybody forget that. In the discussion at the table where it's taking place, we are finding our place there. I think that is commendable. That is where we need to be.
That's correct, sir.
If we are going to get any benefits.
And what's the advantage of having somebody from in the cabinet speak, and then a highly qualified technocrat like Dr. Williams speak. So, one person could be over there, the other person at the other conference, and they're saying the same thing. One is St. Kitts and Nevis focused, the other one is Caribbean focused, same thing.
Yeah.
All right, so you just keep the momentum.
Yeah, beginning to get the attention.
Okay. Because you have to do that first before you get the funds.
That's right. Right. And you have to convince them that you need the funds.
And some people come here and say, you don't need the funds because look at how beautiful your country looks. And then they look at an IMF World Bank report that says that your GDP per capita is $30,000 and say, you don't need any help. You're a high-income country.
Yeah, but you see, that is the thing. And that was discussion about is not per capita. Per capita says nothing.
Not in the hurricane season for sure.
It says nothing about the state of affairs, the inequality and that kind of thing. And that is why we are on this road now in the advocacy to remove per capita income as a measure of development. Is just certainly not a measure of development. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't say anything about inequality, the poverty, nothing. That's just a broad, general statement. That is where the discussion is now. That we need to be involved. Yeah.
Right. This topic is not particularly uplifting. It's the issue of politically inspired violence. Many listeners heard and saw the tragic shooting of two U.S. politicians, fatal shootings, and then some injuries. Totally politically inspired. And also, if you focus on what's happening in Kenya, there's also some politically inspired shootings. We have demonstrators being shot by the police. And we thought we'll give that a little attention. Words matter.
Yeah.
Words, how leaders speak can instigate.
Influence.
Insight.
Insight, right. Insight, that's a better word.
And if you're not a believer in the systems, you will organize your police service in such a way that it becomes a personal vanguard, like a mongoose gang. But for the Minnesota shootings, this was someone who was, from all reports, who had planned this for many months, based on a hatred of a Democratic politician and her family. And personally, I found that to be very chilling.
Yeah. Some of these acts, Dr. Martin, are inspired by political leaders, by the rhetoric
Absolutely.
that they come out with.
Absolutely.
So their followers feel that they have a sacred duty to do that, based on what you have said, what you have told me in your meetings and lead up to the elections and so on.
January 6th.
There you go. There you go. That's a good example.
Yep.
There is this area of stigma and discrimination where you identify a group of people as the enemy, the devils, and you talk in such a way as to suggest to vulnerable people that they should be eliminated, and some people actually do it.
Yep.
I could say, in the health sector, we got very active in protecting persons who contracted HIV because they came in for a lot of negative attention. Fortunately, some of that has died down, but people have been accused of eating dogs and cats.
Yeah. When you look at what's happening in the Gaza, I mean, Israel, shooting down people who were desperate for food, who were starving.
Oh,
And no accountability.
We weren't shooting at civilians. We were shooting at terrorists. That is the daily.
They're shooting at terrorists.
Yeah.
Who said they're terrorists?
That's the daily. That's the daily bulletin from the Israel Defense Force.
Yeah.
We were trying to control terrorists. So you send up a drone and you send a tank in.
Compliments Trump.
People who are desperately seeking food.
Yeah.
Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I think we could agree to practice politics hard, but with civility. What do you say to that?
Of course, that's how it has to be done.
Do you see a need to decrease the temperature a bit?
When you say that, what you mean? Like,
sometimes sometimes the wording can border on vitriol, personal attack. You can definitely see it in social media posts.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could agree that we can agree to disagree like we do here on Groundings, but without being disagreeable. But this is something we have to work on. Final topic, or the final planned topic. U.S. visa ban, question mark. That question mark is appropriate? It's not a full stop, or is a question mark?
Well, I think it's a question mark. Because like the Prime Minister was on today, as late as midday today, saying that there's no official word yet.
What was the leak? What was the content of the leak, the alleged leak?
That there are 30 countries, including four from CARICOM, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada,
They said that they were
St.
on
Lucia and St. Kitts and Nevis.
That we are on a list, or they were considering?
No, the leak said that we were on a list, and they were considering U.S. visa bans for.
What is the St. Kitts and Nevis threat to the United States?
Well, the threat is if they believe you're a threat. I mean, they don't have to have any reason. They don't have to. I mean, this has happened all the time. I mean, it's like they have to find a way to punish you, right? You have a relationship with Cuba, and Cuba helping you, and they think that is not in the United States' interest, so you're a threat. You have a CBI program where you're trying to raise revenue to develop your country and so on, and that's a threat to them. So they find a way of punishing you. Anything you do for your advancement and upliftment and development, they have to find a way to control it, to censor you, to restrict you, to suppress you, because you're not supposed to rise beyond a certain level.
You're not worthy.
No.
I see.
For the benefit of some listeners, this might is right approach goes back to the early stage when we were a colony. Junie taught us this in school. First it was tobacco.
Yeah.
St. Kitts and Nevis and the other countries earnings from tobacco, and then somebody slammed that down. Then it was cotton.
Cotton, yeah.
I'm still in the colonial period.
Yeah.
Then sugar became king.
Yep.
And the sugar came up against, cane sugar came up against beet sugar in Europe, and Caribbean sugar came up against sugar from Central America. Then, let's see, what's the other one? Offshore.
Bauxite, we had bauxite in Jamaica. And,
bauxite and bananas.
And bananas
okay.
in St. Lucia.
We had guaranteed markets, and then people said, no. People also went after the offshore banking sector.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Well, it's now called wealth management.
Yeah.
So the big countries have a track record in this sector. We joined them.
Yeah. And
We became we became competitive.
Yeah.
So we have to. Okay. What about cricket?
No, before. Well, yeah, cricket. Yeah, cricket. Before the gaming industry.
Okay, yeah, talk about that. The gaming industry.
Yeah.
Antigua took the United States to
To
court.
yeah. And won.
Won.
Yeah, international court.
Yeah.
And they haven't up to now received any compensation.
That might is right.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Yeah.
West Indies cricket went through a period of supremacy, 15, 20 years, based on a model of pace. You changed the bowler, but you didn't change the bowling. Roberts, Garner, Holden, Croft, Marshall, Ambrose, Walsh, Patterson. They changed the rules.
Change the rules. They make the rules. They change the rules.
You just got to keep trying to win, Junior. Change the rules. We don't have any ballistic missiles. No.
That's it.
We have any highly enriched uranium?
No.
Guns and bullets? We don't manufacture. We don't manufacture any guns and bullets.
We don't, but we had the 10th of June.
The 10th of June, in fact, we just had the 58. It was 58.
Do we send illegal
commemoration,
migrants in droves in that direction?
No.
So if we do, we send who?
Illegal migrants.
No.
No? They have to go and get a visa.
Yeah.
Can't very well jump on a plane or jump on a
You
boat
can't,
anymore,
yeah,
like 50 years ago, right?
No.
We send any terrorists in that direction? No. So it must be the relationship with Cuba or CBI competition or one more. Guess what the other one is? We want you to take some deportees.
Right, yeah. You know
we want you to take some
That
deportees.
happened one time,
Not your own citizen deportees. Other people.
Other
people. We want you to take.
Yeah,
some.
wait,
You think that is in the mix?
But that happened. I mean, if you listen to Doyle's commentary the other day about, remember we had some people here who were not Kittians. I think they were United States citizens. You don't remember?
Yeah, that program to rehabilitate some youngsters.
Yeah. I mean, that was and this is a repeat of that. They're asking you to do. When those people, that is where the social unrest and criminality started. They were in the building up there what is Brush occupied.
That's Paul Southwell Industrial Park,
And
right?
so when two of the guys got in an altercation one day and one killed the other. I mean, that was serious, criminal activities taking place, and we were asked to host these people. It is that brought the whole situation to an end. So this is a repeat. History repeating itself here. That was happening in El Salvador. They built a jail there and sending people from all over the world to El Salvador. I mean, this is what.
I'm trying to follow you.
Politician got shot in Colombia the other day.
Yeah.
In his head.
Trying to follow Sam's train of thought. Can you imagine we have 52,000 people, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
And we're asked to take 500 deportees from El Salvador.
Yeah.
To do what?
Well,
yeah.
we asked you.
They don't want them in the United States, so they're sending them out.
They're paying you to keep them.
Paying you to keep them. They will build a jail and pay you to keep them.
And the politicians agree to that?
Well, we agreed to it one time. It happened here, telling you.
I'm listening to you.
People think that this is something. Oh, it happened already. It happened already. The guys were up there on the. I don't know where you were, Junie, but
What year that was?
It was the
80s.
early 80s.
Wasn't here.
You wasn't here, okay. They were there on the industry. I tell you, in that building where the brush factory was, yeah. on the industrial side.
Who sent them here?
The Americans.
American government?
Yeah, we were asked to host them, to keep them.
And we got paid for that.
We got paid for that.
Really?
I mean,
Well, they
I
can't
thought it was
ask
a
us to keep
I
them.
thought it was a program to
What do you mean?
rehabilitate them.
yeah,
And
but
then
they were
to send
funding
some-
it.
to
The
send
Americans
some
funded
change.
it.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you guys ain't know about that?
I know about the situation, but and the location,
Yeah, they were up there.
but the negotiations.
Criminals.
Yeah.
And then that's where the whole thing started in this country, this social unrest.
Remember
Technology
Trump sees
transfer.
you as a criminal if you don't have your card. Eh? If you don't have status, you're seen as a criminal. If you're an illegal immigrant to the United States, you're being criminalized.
This is a serious matter. This might versus right has come very close, if not is here. Right? It's a very serious matter, gentlemen. I believe this deserves some unity.
I tell you, that is why I'm saying that this visiting, we can't just go and blackguard and things and so on. This is strategic. We have to have a strategic diplomatic response. This has to be
and all of-
And whose part? The local government that must give a
All of
response.
society.
No, the
Local
Caribbean.
Caribbean government.
Yeah, the CARICOM and, you know, we can't just go, I mean, talking, you know, Antigua saying something, and boy, that's the business, let her keep the visa if they want. It doesn't work like that. That's not to our benefit. I mean, they could do so much things to harm you. And so you have to sit at the table, you have to engage.
But what if
and
you
they
don't
can
want
say-
to negotiate on that?
As
Could very well be
what do
the
you mean
case.
negotiate?
Negotiate. You want to negotiate with the people who send.
That is why I'm saying that we have to collaborate. We have 54 African countries in the UN. We have 16 Caribbean countries. We have the Commonwealth countries, Australia and Canada and New Zealand, which we have
We
relationship.
have to have a common front.
It has to be strategic. Think it's on its own. I mean, if America decide they're going to just, you can't do no corresponding banking, that's the end of us.
Explain that.
Well, we can be involved in the international monetary.
Your credit card wouldn't work.
Nothing will work. Nothing. You can export. You can import. Nothing will work.
So what I hear you saying is that
In fact, this is what this thing. You see, this is a booklet written by Prime Minister Brown, who is the spokesman in the quasi Caribbean cabinet. Gaston Brown. He's responsible for the economic affairs. He wrote this thing, 10 practical ideas for international cooperation to maintain the Caribbean inclusion in the global financial and trading system. If we are not in that remittances, sending money, receiving money, I mean, nothing. And so they could do that. That is a threat to us. So our response must be strategic, not that way. They could harm us. They could destroy us.
in saying that the response must be strategic, I'm taking that point.
Yeah.
To that point, it suggests to me you're saying that the response has to be tactfully crafted,
Exactly. And
devoid
coordinated.
of hyperbole
Exactly.
and muscularity. You must speak a language that your friends will find comfortable to support you.
Yeah. Exactly. We started here today when I was saying that the leader of the Nigerian delegation, you know her first words? Unity, strength, collaboration is powerful. That has to be the strategy. Unity and collaboration.
And that collaboration starts at home.
Absolutely.
Do you think we're gonna have an all of society, all party collaboration on this matter?
We have to have it. That's not an option. We have to be speaking with one voice, not only in St. Kitts, we have to be speaking with one voice in the Caribbean on this matter. Look
I
what
agree with
happened
you, Sam.
Yeah.
But if we can't get collaboration on CBI, how are we going to get that?
But we have collaboration on CBI.
We do?
5 of the 6 OECS countries signed a pact. And recently, for a regulator, yeah. So there's collaboration, and you have to put your hand. You have to put your hand.
For the most part, they've been looking after their own self-interest.
We were encouraged. We were encouraged.
A collective, collaborative kind of approach.
We were encouraged strongly to collaborate, and we agreed to some principles, and then a regulator. Yeah. So there was some progress in that direction. But here comes another one. Because I think Sam is right. We have to rely on his expertise, working in United Nations and elsewhere. This correspondent banking matter can be that plug can be pulled at any time.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's happening in Cuba and Venezuela. They could destroy you. The Americans could do that. They have the power, the might.
I went to the CIA fact book this morning. It says, in regard to St. Kitts and Nevis, in 2023, it's estimated that we imported $334.6 million worth of goods and services from the United States.
Yeah. I mean, 95% of our trade is with the United States, 95% of CARICOM with the United States. And that is why, the whole thing about the 25 by 25 came, because you have to address that. We have to address that, and we have to address it not only as it's Caribbean-wide, we're trying to do that now. I mean, things that we could do, poultry and pork and vegetables and so on. I mean, why we have to be importing that level? I mean, and the small thing we have with these farmers here, we've been saying that on groundings for the last 5 years. that this can't work.
This is wake-up call time, Sam, that's what you're saying.
We also have to address Trump's tariffs.
And the tariffs.
It's critical.
I mean, how you're going to trade tariffs is about trade.
Is the sky falling in, or we have an opportunity to unite
it is an opportunity
and create and innovate?
It is an opportunity.
Build new partnerships with Africa.
Yeah. And look now, to show you how difficult it is. How much it is? Only 3, I think, of the 16 CARICOM countries have relations with Taiwan,
The Saints.
The Saints, St. Lucia, St. Kitts Nevis, and St. Vincent. The others are with China. So you see the complication. We were trying to, in terms of the CARICOM, to have a common foreign policy strategy. That's that thing. We have to come together and discuss all those matters.
What won't happen by will happen by force.
Exactly.
All right, it's 2:31 already.
Yeah.
We've been going on. 2:31.
There's some serious matters hanging over us.
Yeah.
Which, in addition to being in the hurricane season, there's some economic hurricanes that can be invoked if people are not happy with the way in which you are, quote unquote, negotiating with them.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're going to have to take a break and open the line. But before we do that, on Tuesday this week, Miss Linda Adams, on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, Dr. Joe, and Miss S. Lisa Hazel Claxton, on the recommendation of the Leader of the Opposition, was sworn in at Government House to complete the required numbers of members of the Integrity Commission in accordance with the Integrity in Public Life Amendment Act number 3 of 2023. Ms. Adams and Mrs. Hazel Claxton took their oaths before Her Excellency Dame Marcella Liebert Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, who presented them with the instruments of appointment. Miss Adams and Mrs. Hazel Claxton now join Justice Pauletta Lands to complete the commission. Justice Lands was sworn in on Wednesday, 11 June 2025 as chairperson of the commission. Sam, how important is this?
Very
to
important.
Deal with integrity in public life.
Very important. That is a first step, though.
Yes.
But an important first step, because you have to have the composition of the committee.
What is their work? What do they do?
The work is to set up to address anti-corruption measures, to people be accountable, that people, the monies that they have, that they show how they come by it, and all these things. You have to.
It's to prevent corruption.
Prevent corruption, the anti-corruption measures.
Yes.
This is in fulfillment of an act. The act exists for a purpose. The purpose is based on research that corruption has a way of destabilizing your country, and in some cases up to 30%.
More, sometimes more.
Some people have gone to 50%.
Some people have gone to 50%.
But I've seen 30%.
40%.
Of your GDP can go poof.
Yeah. In corruption.
Go up in smoke.
Yeah.
And that's not public sector alone. That's public sector and private sector.
And this is not something in saying, that's an international acknowledgement and recognition and measure, Come from the international community that up to 40%. 40% is the most common thing that I heard, but sometimes some people a little less and a little more, but 40% of your GDP goes away. What to in corruption.
Gentlemen, let's take that break.
Just before we get to the break,
go ahead.
just before we get to the break, because, this Integrity Commission has been going on for a long time.
Right.
But let me tell you how it is. This thing started, I remember in 82. It said like 83. Is 83 no, 83. 82 was the conference, the independence talks. In 82, I remember there was a point that the Labour delegation, the Labour Party delegation, wanted to get integrity in public life, an integrity thing in the Constitution. They think it was that important. And that was rejected by the government delegation. It didn't go in. And 40, how much years later? 43 years later, we are talking about establishing the commission to introduce that. You see how we're far behind? 40 years later.
Far behind on everything. Yeah. To everything there's a season. How about that?
No.
How about that?
No. Well, I don't know.
You still prefer far behind?
This should not have happened.
Okay.
40 years ago. This was raised as an important.
It was rejected or not accepted. Which one? What's the term? Am I splitting hairs?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But I remember one member of the delegation, the government delegation, saying we don't want anything like that in the Constitution. If people want to elect scamps, let them elect scamps.
All right, let's take a break.
And that is what has been happening.
All right, it's just about 2:38. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll open the lines for your intervention. Keep it locked. Freedom FM 106.5.
Reliable, dependable, Delta. If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
get a wow? It's the sound you'll make when you get our loan. Wow, it's the effect you'll get when you upgrade your home. From a place you once knew to a dream home come true. Wow, is a brand new view with a love that's so strong. Where you belong. Wow, for a home like new. Wow, it's the sound you'll make when you get our loan. Wow, it's the effect you'll get when you upgrade your home.
Upgrade, improve, enhance your home with National Bank's Wow Mortgage. For the effect you'll get when you upgrade your home. Lowest interest rate guaranteed and the most favorable terms.
Wow Mortgage, can I get a wow?
The St. Kitts Credit Union is making mortgages easy. Becoming a homeowner, whether purchasing or building, has never been easier. The SKCU is here to help. Apply online via our website, www.skccu.com, or schedule an appointment today with one of our friendly loan officers to discuss your options. St. Kitts Credit Union, the best place to borrow, the best place to save.
RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited, located on West Independence Square Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, and the Solomon Arcade, Nevis, offers you safe and reliable transfers at great low rates and fees to 507,000 locations worldwide, with a pickup time of just 15 minutes after your transfer. And for even more ease of doing business, we home deliver and direct bank deposits in selected countries. So if anytime you want to send money to family, friends, and loved ones, at RIA, we've got you covered. With over 30 years of experience moving money quickly, efficiently, and securely across 160 countries. Give us a call at 465-3325 in St. Kitts or 469-3325 in Nevis. Opening hours Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8:30 in Nevis, and on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited.
And we are back. We're taking your calls now at 465-6474. Call us at 465-6474 or 465-0546. That's 0546 or 662-1065 as we take our first caller. Caller, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I just wanted to make a quick comment with respect to the idea of might is right. I think that all of us are aware that the history of the world speaks to the exercise of that concept or principle that might is right. Now, that might is right is wrong is also well established. But as we weave the antecedents of history, we find that everywhere, in every civilization, every epoch, might is right is one of the dominating factors. I remember, for example, as a high schooler debating during the Leeward Islands debating competition, when we debated the topic that might is right is the main lesson one can learn from international relations. We proposed the moot, and not surprisingly, we won because it was difficult to oppose that. Now, so whether that might be exercised economically or militarily, politically, physically, and so on, that might is right is difficult to counter. And in fact, those who exercise the might have not completely dominated the world simply because it is counterbalanced at some point by the rise of another power with similar or near equal might. Otherwise, if it were just one unilateral power with unmitigated right which cannot be challenged by anybody else, then the world would have been very unipolar. The world would be a very different one. But I want to point out, gentlemen, that here in St. Kitts, the exercise, the principle of might is right, is very extant, very, very much present. The power that is vested in governments, the power that is derived from being the legitimately elected government of the day, gives those ruling elite a kind of power, a kind of might, which they exercise to the exclusion of other considerations, including intervention by opposition members and civil society and so on. So even here in St. Kitts, we find that might is right is being exercised on a daily basis, because those who exercise, who control that might, in whatever form it comes, believe and know that that might cannot be properly or effectively challenged, and so they rule the day. Then on another point, quickly, with respect to the Africans, some Nigerians were here recently, and I'm wondering to what extent was the public involved, was the public informed, to what extent were students, the various levels, actively engaged with the visitors. But more than that, we have had a cadre of Africans, particularly Nigerians, here in St. Kitts for a number of years. And I am not satisfied that we in St. Kitts and Nevis have benefited enough from their presence here over the years. I find that they have not made any serious effort to share their culture, their music, their dance, their cuisine, or their language, which is something I particularly would like to learn, one of their native languages. I find that we have not benefited in any significant way from the continued uninterrupted presence of Africans, particularly Nigerians here in St. Kitts over the years. And so if we're talking about building relations and strengthening ties and so on, why can't we start? Why shouldn't we have started with the very presence of these? And most of them are bright people. I mean, I'm not sure who's not bright, but most of them are people of a particular intellectual depth. I'm not sure how to proceed with that, but I believe that we can start with them, those persons who are resident here, whether they be temporary or permanent. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your contribution. We certainly appreciate your input. Let's take another call. Let's try line 1. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Someone asked if the sky is falling. It appears that it is, because you can't really fight a might is right world order with just unity among a lot of weak nations, unfortunately. Right? It's either that you have nuclear weapons or you don't. And if you don't, dog, eat your supper. You know, the question was also asked, what threat do we pose to the U.S.? Well, I think you neglected one. Don't bring my competitor China in my hemisphere. Stop flirting with China now or else. And, you know, I don't have to tell you what the or else is either. Right? It doesn't have to be gunboats anymore. Just quiet, subtle, twisting diplomacy among friends. Okay? And I think that's what we see happening. You see how they've done the arm twisting with the Bahamas, you know, in terms of the medical, the Cuban medical mission there. They basically put the whole, stringent things on that. And that's how it seems to be going. And yes, unity is strength, but we can't even get serious collaboration here at home, let alone the sub-region. And I don't see us reaching east to Africa as anything more than symbolic and sentimental right now. You know, I would suggest that we try to unite the region first, more collaboration in the region first, so that the planes and the container ships can be filled going across the South Atlantic, okay? And maybe, too, it might be a good idea to try reaching out to South and Central America, because those are significant trading blocks as well, all right? And lastly, the Integrity in Public Life Commission that was mentioned. It's good that it's constituted again, but we continue to have these entities that are constituted and supposedly supposed to help in good governance, but they seem not appear to be working, right? They're not muscular enough. As a matter of fact, I think the last commission had to be prompted to do its work by the DPP, all right? And what makes it work difficult too is the fact that we don't have other supporting mechanisms working or entities working, and I'm talking about things like the Public Accounts Committee. Sam, I know you're well familiar with that. You recently spoke on it. The Public Accounts Committee, I'm talking about freedom of information, those kinds of things that would really help the Integrity Commission. They don't seem to be working. Yes, we've done the initial first steps, but the first steps remain that. They got to be seen, just like justice has to be not only be done, but appear to be done. Same thing with these entities. They must not only be doing things behind the scenes, people got to see them, feel them doing their work. Otherwise, they're not going to have confidence with them, and they're certainly going to be ignored by the powers that be who don't want the kind of scrutiny that they'll tell you that they want it. They'll tell you they want transparency and openness, but you can't see it in practice, right? Okay, those are my observations.
All right, thank you so much for your comments. Let's take another caller. Caller, good afternoon. Okay, we missed that call. Any comments, gentlemen, in the meanwhile? The numbers are open. The lines are clear. 465-6474, 465-0546, 662-1065 are the numbers to call. Call now. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, greetings, Brother Juni.
Greetings to you as well.
Yeah, Rascal Lungi here. You see what Sam was talking about, the banking system, how they could shut us down? No, we have a Pan-African wallet in the Sahel states, right? It's a digital currency. What we want to do, we could invest in the Pan-African wallet so that they could raise the gold reserves in the Sahel states. And once they raise the gold reserve, because once the dollar is tied by gold, we get our own currency. We could sidestep these people. We got the most gold in the world. So what I'm saying to you is that these leaders in the Sahel state, they're setting up the Pan-African currency. It's already in motion. I could send you the app and you could log on to it. So what we're doing now, we're putting the money in a pool here to put it in the Pan-African wallet. So when we raise the gold reserves, we could borrow money from the Sahel states and do projects here. Everything is in motion. We don't need these imperialists. That's why they want to keep exploiting our gold. So once the money is tied by gold, it cannot lose its value. You understand? So everything is in motion, brothers. So let Sam know and Dr. Martin, that once we invest in the Pan-African wallet, we will build our gold reserves to have our own currency, so we don't have to depend on the US dollar. Everything is in motion. We have direct links now with the Sahel states, my brothers. So have no fear. Imperialism is done. You understand? It's time for African people to unite. I keep telling you every week, it's time for us to unite. Resolve the contradiction, repent, you understand? Yeah, and move forward so that we could chant our own destiny, brothers and sisters. Revolutionary Pan-Africanism is here. So have no fear. You understand? We got gold in the Sahel states. We're refining our own gold now. So we don't need the US dollar. We got the Pan-African wallet. Give thanks. We're going to follow the leader. Abraham Cho is the leader.
Amen. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring talk. Preach it, more and more. Let's take another caller at just about 2:51. 9 minutes left on the program. If you're out there and you'd like to make your input, call now. Good afternoon. Go ahead, please. Yes, good afternoon. Welcome. Caller, go ahead. You're online. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hey, Junior, how you doing?
Good, man. Talk to me.
Yes. Okay, Sam and Dr. Martin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
yes,
sir.
I listened to Kolunji a while ago, and he make a lot of sense. But politics is what killing us in this part of the world. They make us fight against each other, and we will not get anywhere. We could try, mind you, we could try. but we ain't going to get nowhere because it's all about power, greed. Now let me give Mr. Sean Richard a little message here. The other day I hear him say that Jew this and Jew that and this, that. Let me give here a message. You had 6 seats in you had 4 seats in government. You had an opportunity to be prime minister twice. And because of your cowardness, because you're afraid people criticize you if you fail, you let it go in the hands of Timothy and what the state palm into because of you. I am saying I have to applaud Dr. Terence Jew because first time winning his seat and first time becoming prime minister. And he decided to himself, I'm going to take up the mantle. It takes guts to do that. Mind you, he are not perfect, and none of us will be perfect. But we could try it. Things could be better, yes, but that is human being. So give the man a chance. Give the man a chance. Let him strive. You can't please everybody. Not even God himself, who is the great creator, could please everybody. Because today he sends sun, tomorrow you abuse, you say the sun too hot, you want rain. And when he give you rain, you say the place to rain. So give the man a chance to strive. And I want to thank him for trying his best. You will get criticized, don't worry. But take that criticism and make you strong. I thank you, Junior.
All right, thank you so much for your call. We have some more calls coming in. Let's try this one. Caller, good afternoon. Okay, you can call us back at 662-1065. That's 662-1065, 465-6474, 465-0546. It's just about 6 minutes before 3 o'clock. You have a couple of minutes left to call, so call and make it short and impactful. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Question. Are we doomed people? And the answer is no, you know. Everyone has to find their own wine and picture. Once we embrace our unity in an unwavering manner, we are good to go as a people, you know. We are an African people, you know. We didn't jump out in the sky, you know. A human can't go, you know. So we just have to reclaim we road. Yeah, people say African want us and this and that and African people. Me listen, Michael a while ago. He's been right. Because we are one. And the flexing are to show that. We just need to embrace the identity. We got too much elusive identities. We need to dash them where we are an African people still scattered in these plantations where they bring us. Own wine and victory. Unison in a fundamental, unwavering manner with the continent from where we are from all over the world. Gather in one accord. Watch here. Nothing them and those can do us again, you know, because we don't see them, you know. We don't know what they're dealing with. We don't know what they're up to. Like once ago, the progenitors, they was getting who these people be. They say we tell one another. Even them times there when certain things go on. You think our progenitors, them know that they must take us where? Into some strange land and work us for hundreds of years and that atrocities upon us that is unimaginable. You think they didn't know that? You think they didn't know that? We need to get ourselves together. Yeah. And starting where we're there, as Colonchi said, starting where we're there. We have an African people in still sojourning out here scattered from these plantation land. We have to get ourselves together and link with the continent from where we are from. Give thanks for the time.
So much, Ras Freeman. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes. We're going to take just one more call. It's 3 minutes before 3 o'clock. We take one more call and then we get the commentary, the raps from Sam and Dr. Martin. Then we'll proceed. I think EK is up next. But in the meantime, let's get one more call in to wrap up Groundings for today. One more call if possible. In the meantime, let me just let you know they just received this from the police media. And they're saying, help us find Janelica Romney. They're having a search party going out on Saturday, June 21st, 6 a.m., starting at the New Guinea Boatyard. We're asking everyone who is able, residents, neighbors, friends, and citizens across St. Kitts and Nevis to join us in this urgent effort to help bring Janelica home. So it's a search party on Saturday organized by the police force in an effort to find Janelica Romney, who has gone missing for a couple of days. Let's take this caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Libert.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I really crave your indulgence. And
go ahead.
I am concerned about the community, as you mentioned, New Guinea, with the missing youth, the missing teen.
Yes.
And I hope and pray that she would be found safe and secure. But I have another concern in regards to 2 shooting incidents in the last 2 nights, last evening and night before.
Mm-hmm.
And I am really, as a senior citizen here, who over the years with my ancestors fought very hard to maintain goodwill between our people, community of Halfway Tree, stretching from New Guinea to Godwin Cut. We live as one family. And with these 2 shootings, I am deeply concerned. And I'm making an appeal to our young people, as well as the older folks, to speak to their children, their young men, because we work very hard to keep Halfway Tree reputation in good spirit. And for these youths to come overnight and destroy the reputation and the spirit of goodwill between our people, it's very distressing. And I'm appealing to them to do not retaliate. Stop now. Stop. We are one family here. And the 2 shooting, fortunately, nobody get killed. I understand it resulted in 2 injuries. But the families, and I wish them speedy recovery, the families for these injured people must be very much distressed. I am very much concerned. Stop it. Don't let it get any further. We are not a people, and you know it, to have this kind of reputation of gun violence in our community. For God's sake, stop it. Don't introduce it now. And I'm willing to call the community together at this particular time for we to have a meeting, young and old, so that we can really resolve this threatening violence that would seem to destroy our image, our reputation here in Halfway Tree. Don't let it get any further. For the sake of your parents, your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, stop it. Stop it. Because Whoever live by the gun, they would die by the gun. It make no sense. We are not accustomed to this. And I'm pleading with you all, in the name of our Creator, who made us in his own image, after his own likeness, who said, thou shalt not kill. Please, I'm appealing. Stop it. For God's sake. Thank you very much, Mr. Lyman.
Thank you so much for that impassioned plea. We certainly appreciate your call. It's 2 minutes after 2 o'clock. We're going to get the wrap from the experts, and then we're going to wrap up Groundings for today. Doc?
Yes, Johnny and Sam, the last caller, really I'm trying to find a term here, but you felt the depth of his agony. The missing young lady, the missing child, that's what she is. And the shooting incidents in that area are evidence, pieces of evidence of the threats from within. I agree with E-Truth. We are not a doomed people. We got the violence under control with an approach called violence as a public health matter. I think we're going to get flare-ups under control by the will of the people, interested people, committed patriots of all persuasions are going to rally to the call to search for the young people, to search for the missing young girl, and to have the youths simmer down. The contribution of Nigerians in St. Kitts and Nevis is known, especially in the health sector. Might is right in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the OECS is subject to judicial review. We have an independent OECS judiciary. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but the United Nations was established in part to diffuse might versus right. We have since established institutions such as the Commonwealth, CARICOM, and OECS as buffers. Let's continue to use them, because it's in the nature of some people to want all by any means necessary. One of the ways to fight a ban from a country is to reduce or eliminate your imports from them to the extent possible. 50% of the imports into St. Kitts and Nevis, the United States supply 50% of our imports. This is according to the CIA fact book, to the tune of 17,500 EC dollars per person. Finally, I do not accept that the sky is falling in. I believe in what Bob Marley sang. Correct me if I'm wrong, Junie. Let's cue it up. Have no fear of atomic energy. None of that can stop the times.
All right. Sam?
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah. Junie, I want to share the views of the last caller about what's happening in Half a Tree, that area, and to pledge, well, not pledge, but to encourage the support of the entire country. We have to make sure that our entire country is a zone of peace, and we must assist in any way to make sure that those things that are happening in Half a Tree at the present moment are discontinued. We want the community there working at it, but they want the support and the prayers of the rest of the country, and we hope that that happens. I want to as well address the whole idea of the African unity and the rapprochement of Africans in the diaspora. That is something that I've lived the last half of my life really doing, and I want to really say to those folks that this Back to Africa and unity in Africa is not an easy process. It's a work in progress that needs a lot of work done still. I just witnessed an experience with a couple who lost $26,000 trying to go to Africa for a visit. I think it's South Africa they were trying to get to. They've lost their money trying to get there. And it isn't for lack of trying. The Prime Minister was involved. The Minister of Foreign Affairs was involved. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs was involved. I was involved. Our former Attorney General, Dennis Merchant, was involved. Our ambassador in Cuba was involved. And the lady lost. The lady and her husband lost $20,000. People, this is something that we have to do.
Was it a scam?
No, scam. She booked a flight. She didn't know she would need a visa. And so we're trying to get this visa for her to go to South Africa. In the end, the time expired and she lost money because she can't get a refund on the ticket. I mean, are we talking about Africa and how, we need to go there and so on? You see the work that we have to do still? I mean, this is a lady, Lord. In fact, she's doing it again. She so wants to go to Africa that she's doing it again. The last word I had from her, and I hope she's right, I'm praying for her, that they were able to succeed, and they're going to be traveling, I think she said next month, about the 10th of next month or something thereabout. So I'm happy that she's going. But people are trying. This thing about Back to Africa and Corn is work has to be done. It ain't easy, so like how people are saying. It's a lot of work, and that's why I'm going with the words of the leader of the Nigeria delegation who was here. Unity is strength, but collaboration is powerful, and we have to get that going. And finally, I want to say, Junior, in terms of the visa card, that is an issue. I want to quote a thought from, I think he is a journalist, who said, the Caribbean must stand firm on its right to independent foreign policy, but it must not do so intelligently. It must do so intelligently. Defending sovereignty does not mean engaging in symbolic battles that risk economic collapse. It means ensuring that the region remains politically resilient and economically stable in the face of external threats. Quiet diplomacy is not weakness. It is a strategy for long-term survival. Caribbean leaders must ask themselves, do we want to make bold statements, or do we want to secure our economies and protect our people? That is what we want to do. And this is what this visa problem must bring out of us, the best in our diplomatic strategy.
Sam, thank you very much, Dr. Martin. That's all we have lined up for Groundings for today. Join us again next week for more Groundings next Friday from 1:30 until 3. Until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for writing on the Freedom Wall and our Facebook page. Thank you for commending us where we needed to be commended, and the times we were critical, that's also good. We thank you for your responses. Thank those of you that took the time to call in and to listen. God bless you. EK is up next on Island Rhythms. Take care. Good afternoon.
Freedom FM, 106.5 FM.
Established in 1996, Island Purified Water has prided itself by providing purified bottled water in 13-ounce, 21-ounce, 1.5 liters, 5 liters, and 5-gallon sizes. Pick up a bottle or two or a case or two from retailers island-wide on St. Kitts and Nevis. Quench your thirst, refresh your body, and stay hydrated by drinking some water from the best water people today. Call us now at 466-7517, 668-7573, or visit our head office in Newton Ground, or call us on 466-6772 or 662-4653, or visit our outlet located in Westbourne, God. For all your electronic wants and needs, shop at Smart Electronics and Island Electronics for the best deals and prices. Visit any of their 3 locations at Value Mart Complex, Farms Estate in Nevis, Port Zante opposite the food court, and Island Electronics on 4th Street, right in the heart of downtown Bastia, St. Kitts.
Get up to 20% discounts or very special deals on a wide range of high-brand electronic items from LG, Samsung, HP, Panoramic, and more that will satisfy your every desire. They also have specials on cellular phones and accessories, washing machines, refrigerators, microwaves, air conditioning units, portable air conditioning units, Bluetooth speakers, stoves, blenders, juicers, flat screen televisions, and a host of other items.
And hey, don't forget, they also do in-store repairs to your cellular phones, laptops, and television. Call them now at 466-4271 or 466-7648 in St. Kitts and 469-4270 in Nevis.
Hey there. Let's face it, life happens. Bills pile up, surprise.